coming up this week, I'm going to be thinking about my running journey, like where I am right now and where I want to be in just a few short weeks. Now, advance warning, we're going to talk later on in the video about all that stuff, and then we're going to mention numbers. Numbers will be coming up, so that is advance warning, but don't worry, I'll tell you when we're going to mention numbers, so you can, if you like, look away from the video at that moment. Some people don't do numbers. Anyway, first of all, time to get on to today's run, and it's a bit weird, the weather's weird. As you can see, it's a bit kind of dark and menacing in one direction, whereas in the other direction it actually doesn't look too bad from where I'm standing now. I just don't know what it's going to do, so we'll see. Now, if you've been watching the videos recently, you'll know I've been kind of striding out a bit. I've went a little bit further, and that's something actually that I've sort of not done for a while. 10k has really been my go-to distance for my long run, like at the weekend. But it's not as if I don't go further distances. I've been over 10k loads of times, but just not recently. So I've been doing that, and now, warning, things are going to get a bit timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly right now, because actually the video 2 weeks ago I went 12k, but in real life IRL that was only a week ago. I know it's weird, don't overthink it. So I'm now going to stretch out, try and do the same thing again, try and go sort of 12-ish k, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, see how I feel, if I don't get beaten up by a tree first. And we'll just talk stuff on the other side. It's windy, we'll talk stuff on the other side, okay? There we are, all done, and let's not beat around the bush, let's put the times up on the screen. As you can see, 13k today, but more importantly I think for me was the length of time, not how long it took, but it's the fact that I was running for nearly an hour and a half non-stop. There was a couple of times when I nearly had to stop because it was quite busy. I went up through town, ran to the next town, and it was quite busy up there, and it's Sunday today, so I don't know, people sort of venturing out like I do. In a few weeks' time, I'm going to take part in a organised 10k event. First organised event I've gone to for ages. I wonder why that is. And it's one that I've run before. This is the one in Bournemouth. It used to be called the Bournemouth Marathon Festival. They've actually dropped the marathon as a distance, and it's now called Run Bournemouth. They were going to make all these changes anyway. It's nothing to do with COVID. It's just, you know, that's what they were going to do. And another thing they've done is they've changed some of the routes of the runs. So I'm going to run around 10k last time I did it. I'm running 10k again, so a slightly different route. But a lot of it takes in the promenade, the seafront in Bournemouth. It's a nice route actually, and it's quite flat. So you can do kind of probably do a good time. And of course these runs, when I go out at the weekends, I sort of, well, there's lots of ups and downs, and you know, sometimes you got quite steep slopes in places, so that does slow you down, of course it does. So that's why, that's one of the things I've been telling myself, that actually it's you know, it's a good route for setting a good speed. So that's kind of one of the things. But anyway, let's sort of talk about it for a moment, because I kind of set myself really 3 goals. So goal number 1 is to beat the time that I set myself for the last time I ran this event. Now, if you don't know, there's a playlist all about this. It's called the Bridge to 10k playlist. I've got it on my channel, and I probably will forget to put a link in the video description, but maybe there'll be a link down there, but you'll find it under my playlist. And why did again was the build up from couch to 5k I'd finished and worked my way up to the to running a 10k, and it's a drama. It's a torrid tale, because it kind of, it didn't all go according to plan. So by the time I got to the 10k event, I'd never run 10k before. Furthest distance I'd ever gone was 8k, but I still managed to put in a time of 1 hour 5 minutes and 55 seconds, which I was quite pleased with, considering I'd never gone that distance before, and it was a real struggle. That last couple of kilometres, like, would it ever end? So yes, I was quite pleased about that actually for a time. So my first challenge really for this event is to beat that time. Beat 1 hour 5 minutes and 55 seconds. I think that first challenge, I think I can probably do that. The second challenge is to try and beat 1 hour. Now, I have done that before. I've run under 10k in under an hour on a handful of occasions, so I know I can do it. So I'm fairly confident about those first two challenges, beating my original time from 2 years ago and beating an hour. I'm pretty happy about that. However, the third challenge is one that I'm not so sure about, because that is beating my personal best time that I've set since that 10k event. And that is, as you'll know if you've been watching regularly, 56 minutes and 48 seconds. It is imprinted on my brain. So I've got to try and beat that. If I came in 55 minutes, I'd be chuffed to bits. Somebody put in the comments that they think I'll do it in 52. Maybe, if I can do it on a skateboard. But I think if I run it 55 minutes, it's got to be kind of my aim. That's sort of what I'm aiming for, really. Somebody's coming. Socially distanced. I know we don't have to, but I still am. So that's what I'm going to try and do. But I think that's kind of tough. So last week, if you saw last week's video, which for me, IRL, was only a few days ago, I thought I'd try and go for it on 5k and see how I'm getting on. And what happened, somebody else coming now, I'll cross over. So what happened was that I did that run in 29 minutes. So you don't have to be a mathematical genius. Oh, I'm going to warn you about maths, will I? Yeah, the numbers are on the screen now. Look away if you don't like numbers. So yeah, so you don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that 29 minutes is not going to put me anywhere close to beating my personal best. But I've been having a word with myself about the fact that it's a much better route. You tend to do better when you're running with other people anyway. But part of trying to build for that is doing these slightly longer distances, because I think if I'm going, I don't know whether this will work, because I know nothing about this, but I'm thinking if I kind of can go a bit further, do 12, 13k, maybe a little bit more than that even, on occasion leading up to it, then 10k will be a doddle. I don't know how that works, but that's kind of where I am, and I'm going to kind of keep doing that for the next few weeks. So we'll see how I do, we'll see how I go. Whether I'm going to do another fast, we'll try another fast run between now and then. I probably will, because there's a few weeks to go, but we'll see. Anyway, what do you do if you're trying to kind of set a PB? What are your tips? Without getting too crazy, because my brain can't handle anything too complicated. So put them in the comments below, and if anybody comes up with a genius idea, I will talk about it in a future video, but probably not next week. Probably be in a future video after that. Anyway, that's enough waffling for me. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch up with you and more next week. Don't forget to leave your comments, like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you next week.